Um, so
Don't
some of you guys were on, what's that? Don't try this at home, yeah. Some of you guys were on 2 weeks ago whenever I did this. We just kept it pretty conversational, but there were a lot of really good questions. I don't know if you guys came with any specific questions, or I could, if there were no questions, what I was going to do is just kind of jump into like, hey, here's what we're working on currently at the gym for lead gen and like business development stuff. So yeah, you guys have any questions?
That's what my questions were.
What we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, like we talked about last week, we have a new website now. The new website, if you haven't seen it, is dspnova.com. It's still the same, but like brand new, like build out. And now everything directs people and like where we want them to go. So our semi-private training has been consistently growing since we've done that. So I think people have a better gauge on like, oh, this is what they do here. This is how I get started. You know, like Todd always likes to say, kill the tigers in the bushes. There were a lot of unknowns at their old website. People didn't even know who the hell we were, like what we did. So we got that taken care of. So now we're working on, I can't believe I'm saying this because I hate them. We're working on a mailing list. I truly have been saying for too long now, I think that mailing lists are annoying. I think they're going to die. But Todd has convinced me to do it. But what we're doing, and I started to talk about this last week, and I was like, I don't want to because we haven't started it yet. We still haven't started it yet, but I'll explain how we're going to do this that made me go, okay, I like that. So basically, we had a schedule. We have a schedule of our social media posts. So we first started with a plan, and it was like we just threw everything out there and kind of saw like, all right, what do people interact with? What stuck? Originally, it was like mindset. It was a client, a picture of people training morning and evening every day. And then Monday was mindset Monday. It was like a mindset post. Tuesday was technique Tuesday. Wednesday was workout Wednesday, where it was like we would post a workout. Thursday was a series called Why Am I Doing This? Friday was a member story, like something a little bit longer, like some of it we could say stuff about them. We pretty much just like thank them, the celebrities, the posts. And then Saturday, something from a book that we're reading, and then Sunday was sharing our best thing that happened in the board. We wound up cutting out mindset Monday. We cut out workout Wednesday, and the main one that I'll talk about is workout Wednesday. The reason why we cut it is because I'm like, it's not really our style to put up a random workout, and I didn't feel like it was really properly representing what we do. So we've been talking about this mailing list forever, and I honestly have no idea where this came from. Actually, that's not totally true. This was what I approached Todd about was kind of inspired by a blog post or a podcast. I think a podcast that Pete Dupuis was on, and he talked about Andy McCloy kind of blowing up since he started giving all of his stuff away for free. Like pretty much, if you want to know how Andy McCloy would coach someone to run a business, well, listen.
Oh, man. Did you guys lose him too?
Am I coming in clear? I'm there. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Missed you on Andy McCloy show you how to run a business.
Yep. Someone was calling me. Problem with doing this from my phone. So Andy McCloy, basically, if you go look at his social media blog posts he's done, you can find most of the information he would give out on coaching someone to run a business. But since putting that information out there, his business consulting services have blown up. Like he has a bunch of clients that he's consulting on how to grow their gym. And so hearing Pete say that, I was like, all right, what could we give away? And the workout Wednesday thing came back to me and what I didn't like about it. And I thought, what if we gave away a full program every single month, similar to the Strength Faction program, but it was made for the I'm new to the gym, have no idea what to do, and kind of intimidated to step into your environment. So that's what we're planning out right now. And so pretty soon what you're going to see is, one, we'll have an opt-in, and the opt-in will be for a transformation guide, which is legit. Like we might turn this into something else. It's like a 20,000-word book. The transformation guide is broken down into the 5 things that we think are important for personal transformation. And we always say in the gym, transformation at BSP Nova, and really anywhere, but there's the mental component, there's the physical component, and there's a performance component. And it's all encompassing. Like, no one comes in and just transformation. Like all three have. The book talks about the 5 biggest keys to your personal transformation, and they are training, nutrition. Training is broken into strength training. I might screw that up, but I'm just gonna go to what I first said: training, nutrition, recovery, community, and maybe it is cardio. Maybe that's the 5th one. So, and then Todd and I kind of like brain mapped that out. He's been writing that. It's out of this world. So that'll be the option. You get this transformation guide, but the page we'll talk about on top of that transformation guide, every single month, we will send you a basic program. So much like strength action, there will be choices under each movement category. And the first 8 weeks are like prep. So anyone that was on or has heard me give my like new member orientation talk, we do an assessment the first day, and then you come back for a personal orientation. In that orientation, we teach squat. We teach like our warm-ups. We teach basic concepts of like how to navigate our environment, and then we go over squat, hinge, push, pull, and we do a very, very, very basic workout of those things so that we can step back, see what you look like without like being stood over for all the coaching, and maybe under a little bit of fatigue. And then all the information from the assessment in that session comes back, and we write the program with that. But we're like, if you weren't coming into our facility, what we'll do is we're going to take the first month and we're going to just rep those 4 things, basically a little bit more to it, but like the basic. So that if someone did that for the first month, then the second month, we just up the intensity a little bit on the basics, and that preps you then for the next year. We're going to provide them with a year of programming. Then on top of the year of programming, which again will be really basic, but it'll increase in complexity. Like at first it will just be power, strength, and conditioning. And then at some point during that's in the add on an assistant portion. And then, are you guys still with me? Am I coming in clear? Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. And then, that would suck. You can't hear a word you're saying. And then, on top of all that, so it's like, why the hell are you giving all that away? You're going to keep these people from coming to your gym. No, we're going to, on top of being on the mailing list and getting their program every month and like updates about what's going on, they're going to be added to a private Facebook group. We already made it. There's no one in it yet, but it's good. For now, we're going with the name Loudon Free Fitness Community, which Loudon is the county that we're in, so Loudon Free Fitness Community. And our goal is to build this thing up into a massive list. And then, and maybe before, during, whatever, I haven't totally decided yet, we're going to approach local complementary businesses and see if they'd be willing to make offers to that group. So even beyond the training that they get by being a member of the group, someone's really loud if they get me, so I don't know where it's at. Let's see if I can figure it out. I think we're good. So even beyond, what is that coming from? Whatever. Even beyond the training, they get discounts and different things. And then they get invited to all of our community events at the gym. So we do like technique events. We do like leisure events. And then last but not least, they get to come to the gym anytime that they're in the program. They get to come to the gym and do their program for 1 week free at the gym. Who the hell is that loud?
Jazz, can
we
you
kill that?
Mine says it's muted.
No, now it is.
There we go. Sorry, that was really loud. So where was I? So they'll be able to come to the gym for a week for free at any time after they cover a few things. They have to have watched, like we're filming all these intro videos, how to read your program, how to squat, hinge, push, pull, and after they've completed the month intro program. After that, anytime within the next 13 months, they can come into the gym for a week for absolutely free. There's no sales pitch, and perform their program at the gym and get coached. So that way they get, outside of being at our different events, they get to come in and actually experience some of semi-private environment. And we realized we're going to get a lot of people that just want something free, and that's fine. We're building a huge local list. But the hope is that we're also going to obviously pull people from that. And by getting other businesses plugged into where they're getting stuff out, hopefully they see an uptick in business, and then they're more likely to share it, so on and so on and so on. And we'll see what happens. I could be totally wrong on this, but this is what we've been planning out for like the last month. So
Chris, it's Bill, just because I know you're driving.
Yep.
So I think one time I had heard Pat Rigsby, he had talked about creating a local Facebook group that was free and then giving people information and stuff on that daily and everything else. Would you tie in that people would get access to a Facebook group if they were in the mailing list, that it would kind of cross, like they'd have both?
Yeah. I don't know if I didn't make that clear. We do have a Facebook group. It's called, like, anyone that's on the mailing list will be added to that group. It's called Loudon's Free Fitness Community. Okay. And then what we're doing is one of our coaches, like everyone in the gym, like all of our coaches have responsibility of different things. So Megan is going to oversee the Facebook group. Todd's going to oversee the mailing list. Jeff is handling the programming. We're all working together on the videos, and John is handling all of the events. And then anytime someone drops in, they're just experiencing the gym in itself. And then I kind of planned the whole thing. So, and then, so Megan's going to have a schedule of posts, like what goes up on each day of the week. So, I don't know what they are yet. That's a meeting we haven't had yet. But Monday would be like something to kick the week off. Tuesday, maybe we just share our Technique Tuesday stuff. Wednesday, maybe check in on how everyone's doing midweek. Thursday, maybe we do a component of like, why am I doing this? Like we do for our members in the gym, so on and so forth. But yeah, we want to be posting to that thing probably every day, maybe every day but Sunday. And I say that now, but we might figure out that, hey, these days are the most interactive and we drop the others and just stick to what works. So. But by spreading out that workload, like it probably sounds like, holy shit, how can you do all this? But we have a solid team that's going to take components of all of it. It's like I had to do this myself. I'd be like, no way. But it's so far the planning and everything's been going really easy because everyone on the staff. When I first mentioned it, everyone was just like, "This is crazy. How in the world are we going to give all this away?" But it's an experiment. We'll see. So, do you guys have any questions off that, or I can go into other stuff too that we're working on. I don't want to just talk to you guys the whole time, though. I want to make sure I'm getting things that you want to talk about.
I know the last time that you were up at the gym, you were talking about kind of how you were going to pack out the bigger space. And you guys added in some kind of like general classes, like the cardio classes and things like that. Yep. How has that been in terms of revenue generation versus the semi-private model that you're running, now that you have kind of two different models running simultaneously?
Yeah, so I know I said this weekend at the Strength Faction seminar. I don't know if I said it on the call 2 weeks ago, but what's funny is that my bias comes out when I talk to people. So one, we've never had someone go to our new website and fill out the interest form on our classes. But we have had some people contact us and say, hey, I'm not sure, which one should I do? And as soon as I explain the benefits of the two, what you get with them, every single person has signed to semi-private training. So we've signed no one to classes. But with that being said, that's kind of the next area that we're going to fill. And what we're going to do is we're going to start it, because you think about the timing of things, and we've never tapped into this time of year and that market, but we're going to jump on the New Year's kick, and we're going to market it, because legitimately we're only going to open a few spaces. In reality, more than a few. We're gonna add. We're gonna open somewhere between 9 and 12 total openings, probably 9 total openings. And we're gonna do, as much as I'm not really a fan of these, we're gonna do kind of the whole sort of squeeze page type thing, where it's a boatload of information, get people hyped about it. We'll definitely film a video ahead of time, almost like a commercial for it. And our goal is just to get 9 people in that come January, and then those 9 people. We'll probably have them commit to 6 to 8 weeks, and letting them know that, hey, we want to film a lot, we want to get a lot of pictures, get testimonials, and then we'll use that to fill the rest of it. But that's really for our kettlebell strength classes. We're not running them at all right now. We do have our metabolic conditioning classes going Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like I just taught that this morning at 6 a.m. But those are free to all existing semi-private members. So right now we have 0 people specifically paying for that. But for me, it's been a retention tool for. It's been 2 things. One, it's been a retention tool for our semi-private members, and 2, it's been it's truly been helpful to them because we get a lot of people that are like, oh, like I'm gonna go do this on the thing. We're like, I wouldn't do that. And so now that we have the space, I'm like, I'm gonna provide you with a class of what I think would be complementary to our resistance training on the other days. So and we have a lot of people that jump into those now. So,
hey, Chris.
Yep.
It's Pat.
I know this voice. I know who it is.
Oh. I'll take it as a good thing. When BST was in your old facility, and I don't know if everyone knows the size, but I visited a couple of times. Did you guys ever offer or try to do some type of conditioning?
Yep, and it went really well. We did, and that's why we stuck with the name metabolic conditioning. We did it back then, but we stopped doing it. What happened was we used it kind of the same thought process, like as a retention tool and everything else. But our old facility was only 1,100 square feet, and it got to the point where we needed more times for semi-private. And so we nixed it and opened more hours of semi-private. And then our members, of course, when's that coming back? And then once we moved to the new facility, we didn't do it right away. We were going to develop a program with Lori Lindsay right away, and then we went a different direction, and that's what finally brought back metabolic conditioning, and now we're focusing on growing the adult programs that way. So, yeah.
Okay, because I find myself, like, now that I've built kind of a good foundation, people are always asking, and I want to provide a good way for them to get some conditioning in, So I was going to do the same thing, but I'm finding out about the time slots,
Yep.
So I guess as long as you keep the books open, and you're communicating with your clients, like, hey, look, we're going to try this out, that you find that's pretty good, because I don't want to take away time slots and then they're not being used and then bring them back, just because that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and if you think about it, then like what goes into it, it kind of looks definitely not this round of strength factor. This is such like a bro round in terms of the programming. But our typical structure, like more of our summer, really, now that we've really ironed out like what the different seasons of listing are within strength action. So like the way that we lay out summer, where maybe Tuesday is some type of conditioning, but it's not like super hard. It's more like stimulatory. So like neural charge could be good. Thursday, like Fury Thursday type stuff, resets, or we make that like a carry day. It's not exactly what we do, but that's kind of the way that we lay out the intensity of ours. And then Saturday is a big aerobic day. It's a continuous circuit. So among other things, we come in, we go through group warm-ups. We still do like a power circuit. But then on Saturdays, we get into a big 15 to 18-minute continuous circuit. But it's like carries and crawls and balance beam and ladders and things like that. So.
Got it. Okay. No, that was good. The main part of the question, too, was in the smaller facility, did you have that metabolic like conditioning stuff? Because I have some people interested and I wanted to try it. So I figured I was going to try Saturday morning after we have an early rally class, and then right after it, and open it up to everyone too. So it's cool. Absolutely. Just know it can be done. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. What else we got?
I think it's interesting you talk about how you're this is Dolan, by the way.
Yep.
You're talking about, so over the last 3 years, we tried to do a lot of that metabolic conditioning, a lot of the classes too. And I guess the good problem with that is that almost everybody that signed up for that converted to the semi-private, which has completely gutted our classes. So we're trying to repopulate that now. It's just, I guess it's even this month, we've been doing just a $5 drop-in. That's going to be a donation to a local animal shelter. And it's crazy. Everybody that's done the drop-in so far this month has signed up for semi-private. So we're still sitting at a zero sum on that metabolic conditioning class. So it's nice to see that other people kind of run through the same problem.
But if that's your lead gen, like, I get that there's labor to it, but damn, dude, that's free lead gen. That's awesome.
Right. And that's maybe the big thing. It's just kind of getting my head around that that's what it is, instead of freaking out that, like, shit, we've got all these metabolic conditioning blocks that are sitting empty right now. We're actually, taking those people and turning them into semi-private. So we are, I guess when you look at it that way, that makes me feel a lot better about it. I panic a lot less.
And I'll tell you why. I'll give you a third reason why we made metabolic conditioning free to our existing members. And this is kind of the problem I'm running into with launching Kettlebell Strength, is we wanted bodies in the class. If I'm going to sell a class and you fill out like our form and it's like, yeah, I'm interested in training, and it says in there like, high energy group class, and then you're the first person to sign up, how the fuck do I do that? Like, hey, it is a group, but it's just you. Like, so we decided to say, hey, any members that want to do it, it's absolutely free. And we were like, the worst problem that we have is that eventually they become so packed that we actually have to cap them. And then at that point, I can't imagine any member complaining that, hey, we do need to charge for these, or we just need to say that it's not available to you. You know what I mean? But we're not even close to having that problem. But that's what we're running into with Kettlebell, is I keep saying we were going to launch it in September, but then we didn't market it at all. And so it's like, of course we don't have any bodies. So sure, we can write a program, but no one will be there. So we struggle with that, like putting people in the class versus starting the thing with one person. So I don't know if that makes sense. But
yeah, that totally makes sense.
But like you said, I don't think it's a waste of time. It's all lead gen. And I do have people call, like back to what Billy said earlier, I have people call or email and they ask about the differences. And as soon as they hear the value in semi-private, they're like, oh, I'll do that. So
right.
It's been pretty easy so far.
Chris, to piggyback on that, and I know me and you have talked about this before, and I know you've said it probably 85 times, and I'm just forgetting. What's your current charge and your current offering for semi-private? Like for a person who comes twice a week for semi-private gets access to what?
Okay, so I'll give you kind of the way that people come on. So they go to our website, they wind up clicking on semi-private personal training. It walks them through what we call a 30-day kickstart. I talked about this a lot 2 weeks ago, but essentially at first we did a 30-day trial. And what we did was anyone that signed up for the 30-day trial, $199. You got a one-on-one assessment. Then you had a one-on-one orientation, but the one on the coach side wasn't always the same person. The goal was to get you to work with every coach that was in the facility at that time, so you got a feeling of what semi-private personal training was like. So those are two separate sessions. Then you would jump into a month of semi-private personal training 2 days a week. At the end of that, we would then email, phone, in person, whatever worked, have a conversation about if you enjoyed it and if you wanted to join the gym. And for a number of reasons, that didn't work at all. We got lots of people in it, but we were converting very, very, very few of them. And so at first I got frustrated and was like, all right, we're going completely away from this. And we did. So we just had no offer. It was like, come in and sign up for a year. So of course that wasn't going well. And so when we really stopped and looked at like, all right, what wasn't working here? And this was all like this year, like in the new facility. When we looked at what wasn't working, we were like, well, I think that the word trial brought in a lot of people who just want to try every gym in the area, because we had people going, oh, I'm trying you, I'm trying Orange Theory Fitness, I'm trying Soldier Fit. And it's like, fuck, all right, like if you're going off price, we're more expensive than all of them. So trial was a bad word. Two, we found that people were loving it and things are going great. But when we had the how are things going, do you want to continue conversation, it's like, I don't care what you buy, you make any decision, you're really pumped about it, but within the next day or two, you get buyer's remorse. Not because you're not pumped to have that and you don't want it, but it's just like, fuck, I just spent a lot of money, now I got to kind of tighten up my finances, blah, blah, and you just question everything. So they just had that 4 weeks ago. And then I'm going to have another sales talk with them, and there's a high likelihood that just in thinking about it, like, you know what, do I really want to spend this much every month? I love it here, and it just gives them an opportunity to be like, I don't know, and they're out. So we decided to experiment with, one, changing the word to kickstart, and two, so changing the word to kickstart, making all the terminology be about this is the start. This is the start. It's not a trial. You're starting something. And then two, having it automatically convert to a 1-year membership at 2 days a week. So there is no secondary sales cost. So the 2-day-a-week membership is for a couple of reasons. We did a year because, one, that's obviously really good for the business, but two, it's the lowest cost per month commitment to the gym outside of classes. It's $259 a month. 3, 2 days a week is pretty easy to fit into your schedule. And so you hear us talk about it all the time. If we can get them into the consistency of showing up 2 days a week, they'll eventually have momentum on their side and their goals will begin to fall. Once they have that confidence, they sometimes go up to 3 days a week. Very, very rarely they go to 4 days a week. So to answer your question, prices, $199 for the 30-day kickstart. After 30 days, it automatically goes to 2 days a week at 1 year. That's $259. At any time, they can go up to 3 days a week, which is $329. And then at any time, they go up to 4 days a week, which is $399. And the way, if you look at our sales page on the website, we literally coach them in exactly what to do. It right away tells them about the $199 kickstart, start your 30-day kickstart, blah, 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 $199. And then when it gets to membership rates, I think is the terminology we use, and then it says after your 30-day kickstart. And it says in much less words what I just said. It's 2 days a week, $259. Everybody starts here. 3 days a week, $329. Many people go here after the first few months, blah, blah, blah. And then 4 days a week, a Braves view reside here year-round, but some people go here seasonally. We'll let them, if they're I'm a teacher in the summer, I'm going to come in 4 days a week at the time, we'll let them go to 4 days a week for the summer and then come back down. I didn't used to do that. I used to whatever you do, you're in that for your commitment. But I'm like, shit, if you want to do that for a summer, let's do it. So we just kind of coach them throughout the entire way like that. $259, $329, $399. Then we have 4 months. If someone's like, I really don't want to do a year, we don't have the prices on the website. But if we're talking and they're like, a year freaks me out, I'm like, all right, we do have 4-month prices. And they are $309, $399, and $499. So $259 goes to $309, $329 goes to $399, and $399 goes to $499. So, and we do have people that sign up for that. We have a couple people on the $499 one right now, which kind of blew my mind. So, sorry, I'm giving kind of lengthy answers for your question. I hope that helps.
Dude, listen, I love it. I just hope everybody else isn't getting bugged out by it. And then when you do that and you have the semi-private, everybody has access to those conditioning classes on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Would they also get access to that kettlebell class?
Nope.
So,
and then here's the thing on that. We've had a few people that say, hey, when you start that, I can take that too. And we're like, no, but here's why. It's not me trying to be like, well, one, I mean, goddamn, if I give away that much, no, just no. But two, it's called kettlebell strength, but much of what we'll be doing are basic movements, goblet squats, kettlebell deadlifts. So if you're envisioning double kettlebell clean snatches, all this, maybe with some people, and what we'll have is much like strength action, we'll have a spectrum of choices. But it will be a very, when I say low intensity, I mean from a volume standpoint. So I guess I could say low volume. It will be focusing on learning the basics with exactly what Dolan just talked about. Essentially, the goal being getting them the confidence and the competency to be able to slide right over to our semi-private personal training. Because while they're there, we have it at peak hours. We will have it at peak hours. They should see people, barbell deadlifting, hex bar deadlifting, safety bar squatting, doing double kettlebell, higher technique work, more exciting stuff that they want to get to. And it's like, hell yeah, you can do that. You just got to sign up for semi-private personal training. So we'll purposely make kettlebell strength pretty basic. We're telling our members, you're not going to want that many days of resistance training, and you're also just frankly not going to want to go back and do something that simple compared to where you're at now. So.
Yeah, got you.
Hey, Chris, for for your Kickstart month. And I may have missed this. Do you have them coming twice a week then during that month so it transitions in?
Yep.
For the semi-private? Okay.
Yep.
So that Kickstart month is 2 times a week, and they know that up front. That's
yep.
Okay.
And sometimes someone will come in. I think I've had this happen like twice since we've been doing this. And we've been doing this for, I don't know how many months now. Well, the new website's been up maybe like, I'm terrible with time. I can't believe we've been in the new facility a year. Maybe the new website's been up like 2 months. And so that's how long we've been doing the Kickstart. What was I going to say with that? Oh, occasionally, maybe like 2 or 3 people since have come right in and said, no, I want to do 3 days a week. And I'm like, that's cool. Your Kickstart is still $199. Come in 3 days a week, and I'll just have your membership set to automatically convert to
nice.
$329 at the end of 30 days. So if someone really wants to do that, I'm not going to like say, no, you can't train that often. So, yeah.
All right, but I like that.
I do have a conversation with them about why do you want to train 3 days a week. And I make sure that it's not that that's what they think they need to do to get results. Because also, like, we're in our 6th year of business. And looking back historically, people who start with 2 days a week stay longer. 3-day-a-weekers, there's a higher likelihood of them missing a session here and there and getting into that starting at Monday mindset. And when you wait from Tuesday until Monday, there's a high likelihood that you just don't feel like going anymore by the time Monday comes.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but 2-day-a-week people do better long term. So that's why we chose that.
Okay.
That's another reason why. How the other ones I gave.
No, that helps because our Kickstart right now has it at 3 times a week, and that's probably one of the biggest problems. Is it's even if 2 times a week is the totally appropriate choice for that person because we preset that context, right? It's an awkward conversation to have, like, hey, you should scale it down now, and probably only come twice. And no, and I like that. And then if they do, and we've got people that want to come 3 times a week, but then that's just a chance for added value. And hey, I'm going to take care of you, and you can come in 3 times a week. Don't worry about it. And then setting them up. So I like that. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a chance, guys, that I'm going to start breaking up here a little bit. If I do, I'll be back on. Signal just sucks out here.
What will we do without you?
Who else got a question or want to talk about something? You're in charge.
Oh, fuck. Does anybody else do the trial month stuff right now?
Will be soon.
Yeah. So is yours, Bill, is yours currently when they come in, they're just signing right up for their membership then?
So for our athletes, the athletes come in for an evaluation. If they've been referred by one of our they've been referred by somebody internally to come in, we don't really charge for the eval. If there's somebody who contacts us because they found us from some other thing, maybe they heard about us at some other point in time, but they're not a direct referral, we'll charge $99 for the evaluation. Then what we do is we just roll that $99 into their first month of training if they decide to sign up. That way, at least for the hour and a half that we end up spending with somebody for the eval, we can guarantee that we're not going to lose money on that hour of time completely. And then we go deep, especially with the athletes. We spend a lot of time on their evaluation. We spend a lot of time sitting in the office explaining what we do, how we do it, and what the results should be over the course of, the next 6 months to a year of time. How quickly will they see results? Then with the merging in because obviously, like, I don't know if anybody knows, but anybody who listened, we actually ended up buying a CrossFit. And we're converting the CrossFit over to something we're calling Farmingdale Barbell Club. So we're going to be kind of transitioning who they have into what we've always done. So I want to add semi-private back as a model option that goes, and have the CrossFit eventually be nulled out by putting people into either some type of group class or our semi-private offering. Right now, we're almost entirely, our athletes make up probably 40%, 50% of the money. My one-on-ones make about 30% of the money. And then the adult classes make up that last remaining percentage of stuff.
Okay.
So as we try to make it that the adult classes are 50% of the business, 50% of the business, we're trying to find how are we going to enroll them. And I like Chris's idea of a jumpstart month and then an auto conversion, especially because from a pricing standpoint, it's not much higher than what we're going to charge for the group classes. So hopefully they see the value that, hey, you also get access to these other few things.
Sure. Now, when we do our assessments or our first consult, we can knock it out in 60 minutes with adults, but with the athletes, it's taken like how much – it takes us a lot longer. How much time do you set aside if it's your first consult or assessment with an athlete?
I usually try to tell everybody that it's going to be an hour. I invariably try to keep almost 2 hours block open. I don't think I've finished in an hour. The only time we finish an hour when we do the evaluation is if like they were already sold on training with us before they came in.
Sure. So that conversation goes quick. Yeah.
It takes me, doing the FMS component of an evaluation only takes me probably 10 to 15 minutes maximum, just because I've done like 1,000 of them. And then the table stuff, so I do like an orthopedic screen, internal, external rotation of hips, shoulders. We check T-spine, ankles, finger test, all that stuff. That'll take a little longer. But, again, I've gotten good at it. I know what I'm seeing from the FMS. I know what things I need to pay attention more to on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on the age of the athlete and the things that they're coming in for, I might do some movement stuff. I've been having athletes run, jog, shuffle, change directions on reaction, just show me some basic stuff that they can do. So that takes 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And then we're answering questions. So if parents have no questions, I might be done and they're signed up. And our training program is anywhere between $299 and $499 a month. Very similar to what's going on with Chris's stuff. Only we don't do a year. We do our maximum. Those prices are kind of like the 6-month price.
Okay.
And same thing. Athletes come for an hour and a half session, a group of 4. But some people, like if we have guys who are like pro guys who come in and they're doing their evaluations, that can take much, much longer. Because then I'm going to get more in depth. I'm going to ask about their history. I start talking about who's their physical therapist, who's your chiropractor, what people do I have to talk to in terms of your support network other than that. Because there might be a strength and conditioning coach. Like when I have a guy, when he was on the Toronto Blue Jays, his coach would have to message me biweekly. Hey, can you send over programs? Can you send over numbers? Can you send over performance stuff? Our guy who plays for the San Francisco Giants last year, his strength and conditioning coach came out just to watch a session, see what was going on. They just want to get involved and get there. So then the evaluations can take much longer if that happens.
Gotcha. I'm going to keep finding questions as you build. One of the things, and I think you maybe, and anybody please chime in on this. We've got our stuff with athletes. It's where we've got it right now. It's not a big enough program where we'll have like 1 or 2 dedicated time slots for athletes. Beyond that, they're just coming in for semi-private with other people. But one of the opportunities we have here is actually with a handful of some of the different teams, both high school and club and stuff like that. And so that's uncharted territory for us. So how, obviously you have to approach decision makers, but I'm not even sure. And again, anybody chime in on this, like how you present that to them and how you price something like that. If it's with the whole team and maybe if there's a difference between a school team and a club team.
Yeah, so we've trained for a number of years. We train a local college baseball team every winter. We usually train them for about 14 weeks. It's usually across 16 weeks, but they have a week off around Christmas time. They have a week off sometime around winter break for their college program. And we charge, it's about 40 kids on the baseball team. We'll charge $300 a kid. So it makes $12,000 across 4 months. So it's $3,000 a month. They see us for 2 days a week. Really, it's twofold. We don't we pay the coaches, we pay everything else. We end up having 2 or 3 coaches coaching a session. So we'll end up having a lot of those guys just roll through. Actually, Duffy helped us last winter with them. And It's really just also for the idea of saying, hey, we work with a collegiate baseball team.
That's right.
Since they've been working with us, they've made it to the playoffs every year. They've won championships, all this stuff. So it's good for selling younger kids, like saying, hey, this college program trains with us. Here's the results they've had. This year, for the very first time, we're training an entire soccer organization every Monday for the last 10 weeks. And we charge – the kids are paying almost nothing, but it's 160 to 200 kids every Monday. And every 15 minutes they start a new station, and it's anywhere between 15 and 20 kids going through warm-up, skill, drill, fitness. So we start off warm-up and basic stuff, then we move into the skill of the day, then we do drills that are in support of the skill of the day, and then we finish with fitness, and the fitness rotates. They're kids. When we have like the 6-year-old group that are playing the U6 or U7s, they're playing tag as their conditioning. Like, hey, go ahead and run around. We're going to time tag for 3 minutes. They're going to do 4 rounds of 3 minutes, and they're done. They think they were just playing, and then we educate the coaching staff. We educate the guys who own the thing. Hey, this is why we're doing what we're doing. And I'm actually working on an article today for them talking about the fact that, USA Soccer is having these failings and these shortcomings because the players just aren't that good. And it's because we're specializing at such a young age, and you're now seeing the fruits of specialization on an international level. And you're seeing what happens when we only spend time playing games and doing skills, and then we're just not able to keep up athletically in the sport. And there's more than enough money in soccer now versus what it used to be. And we used to be more competitive. But now guys are getting $5 million to play in MLS where they used to play for $60,000 a year, and we're still failing. So how is that? It's because our development process for that whole program, just isn't there. So it's that stuff. But pricing wise, we'll end up making about $10,000 for 8 weeks on the soccer program. So really each kid was paying about $50, $60 for 8 weeks of training. And it's so small, but when we have 20 kids in a group, each kid's paying, let's say, $6.17 a kid. It ends up being $135, $140 an hour consecutively done for 4 hours. So financially, it starts to make more sense. And we also, because we do the rotation the way we do with 4 stations, I can have 4 teams training simultaneously. So each team is worth $145, but they're all going at the same time. So per that hour, we can make $400 in gross revenue.
Yeah, I think the thing that we screwed up on, and so going into this situation, so I work with the one team or group that I work with is a figure skating team and up north here. And kind of the issue was going in, I didn't know how many people there were going to be or whatever. And so when we were talking about it, and I think from a budgeting perspective, we agreed on kind of like a flat rate. And then what happened was, because it was successful and went well, we already had this kind of pretense of the flat rate. And then every single, we had a handful of their best kids. They got a lot better and performed well. Then they wanted everybody in. And so I had this agreement of this kind of flat rate because I wanted a minimum guarantee of money, more or less. And then it scaled up, and now they're just fucking like dumping kids into this program, and I'm still charging that flat rate. And again, like, I'd rather not do the numbers on what it is per kid because it's not great. And so I'm kind of going back on when I revisit with them and talk through it to have a more per athlete sort of rate. And it seems like that's kind of what you're doing for most of these scenarios is it's per athlete, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're doing
– or you have a knowledge of exactly how many athletes you're going to work with and bill it that way?
Well, what we'll also do when we've done team training in the past, like my facility, when we were in the 10,000 plus square feet, we could go and we could look at teams and we would sell and we would say, hey, if you're going to do just speed and conditioning with us, we're going to do a speed class with you. We'd charge $200 for the first 12 kids.
Okay.
And then we charge $15 for every kid after that.
Okay.
That way, if we got to 15 kids that were in the group, we added $45 more. That allows me, one, to pay for an extra coach to come in and coach that session. It's really not that those 3-4 kids above that really are that much financially. It's just that when we were trying to give the quality of service that we were looking for, you get to the point that you're not doing what you wanted to do. So at 15 kids, if I added another coach into that session or we did something in that capacity, then we have a better session. We have higher quality. Then we have a better chance of converting. Because we're also looking at the team stuff as an opportunity as conversion tool. Same thing like Chris is doing when you say like, hey, we're having group classes and we're hoping people see also the dope stuff that's happening. We have this kid, Jeremy Ruckert, who has trained with us since he's a 13-year-old kid. Now he's a 5-star recruit. He's going to Ohio State on full scholarship. Every kid on Long Island knows who this kid is. So when you see him working out in the gym, doing his own program, doing his own stuff, kids who are watching that and seeing what he's doing and then seeing what they're doing, they're like, hey, how do I do that? So if we get 15 kids to come in, we hope to get a 10% conversion into our semi-private program or better. But if we can get 10% on any team that we work with, we look at it from that. If we have this soccer organization, if we can start to capture 10%, that's 20 kids, 15, 20 kids. Now I'm talking about that could be a huge influx to our base program that ultimately leads to us making significant revenues on our other thing. So you got to figure out what's the purpose. Like the figure skaters, do you have a deal that you're then selling them to do more heightened training? Like, hey, you're getting great results in this, but this is a very generic version of what we do. We have a much more advanced program. Is that something that you think you'd be interested in? Because especially with figure skating, who's the best and who's second best? I bet you the person who's second best might be interested in becoming the best. And they're probably somebody that's worthwhile getting that conversation and saying, hey, why don't you try our other program? Come in, see what it's like, and see what a more customized program could really do for you from a results perspective. And that's just now you having layers to your marketing and to your lead gen on the team stuff. Yeah.
Well, and so I'll go, sorry to hijack this, guys, but I'm gonna take it and run with it. To go a little,
Chris is the dude.
Yeah. So I know you've got like a partial second location, and I think part of the reason when I first did this, agreed to the base rate, is because this is at it's through a park district, right? And they got their own ice skating facility, and they are breaking ground in the spring on a whole new building and facility, and they're setting it up and everything. So I will say in the beginning, part of it was like, all right, I'm going to charge this flat rate that's going to at least cover my costs, but isn't the sort of money I want to make for it. Part of it to kind of get in good with them. But yeah, it's almost everything you're talking about is like, that's the sort of value I'm trying to sell, because what I want them to do is I want them to build a gym in there, which they're planning to do. I don't have to pay for it. And they're kind of talking about like having somebody come in, not like full-time, but somebody to run and set up and take that program and run it within that facility, which obviously appeals to me because I'm not going to have to pay for that.
Yeah. My question to you on this is, who's training the team right now?
I am.
If you were to go into a second location, who's going to train the team?
I would probably have a different coach doing it.
So we ended the relationship with our second facility. With everything that happened with me and I don't know if you listened, right?
Yeah, the podcast. Yep.
I tightened up with the concept that, hey, I want to be great in what we do and not be really good, because I actually fell into one of the things that ended up happening is everybody wanted more of me.
Mm-hmm.
And there was never a chance that I could possibly be everything to everybody across all these different spheres. And now the frustrating thing for me is I have the best coaches on Long Island in terms of like in totality. Like Mike is in this group, Baranis is in this group. My coach Jay is an excellent coach. Matt Cronin, who's one of my coaches, is a world record holder in powerlifting. Cronin is fantastic. So like my coaching staff is great. And even though I have a great coaching staff and we got great results, people still wanted my face there more.
Yeah.
And that became something that ended up being a point of contention. And it's one of the reasons why I left was, hey, if everything that I'm doing isn't being valued by this partnership and they just want me present, even though they knew that I had this other facility and I was going to have to be there, it became something. And I realized that, hey, while I was in my objective was to try to build as big of a sports performance business as I possibly could. and we had, 150 athletes training with us in the winter, was that exactly what my business was needing to be at my point in time and where I was at and what I was doing. Would we have been better served if we had stuck with 60 kids who were getting great results and working with more things on our point, on our time? And we had so many relationships and we have so many things that we're working on that it starts to become, what is it you actually want from it? Having a second facility is great. We made good money. Again, I'll tell everybody exactly what's going on. We were probably making $8,000 to $10,000 in profit from our second location as an average per month. And it was me working 7 days a week and working crazy long hours and doing crazy amounts of stuff and having to answer phone calls while I was away on vacation. And you have to figure out, Ross, why are you doing it? Is it because you want the guaranteed revenue, or do you really love figure skating? Or do you really just want a second gym? What's the purpose for that second spot? Chris told me I was nuts when we were standing in my gym. He's like, you just opened a fucking second spot. Forget me having a bigger spot. You have two now. You're a nut job. Chris is right. I mean, I became a nut job trying to chase after so many different things. Now I joke around about it, and I'm like, my rent is $3,000 a month. My utilities are $500 a month. My coaching costs a month are probably $5,500. And I'm like, man, this is so easy. And it's $10,000 a month, and everybody's like, what do you mean that's easy? And I'm like, from where we were coming from to what it is now, my life feels like it's slowed down like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying a new aspect of what's going on. So Ross, before you start getting into all that stuff, is that new spot going to be your full-time spot? Do you want that to be your own gym?
Yeah, I think, that's really good framing there. And I think it was a thing that was nice and fell into our laps because of the work we do with there's a physical therapy group here that also has a location up there. And we do a lot of help with them, right? So we got this connection. It was nice. It fell into our lap. It fit with some of the other things we're doing because we were working with a couple girls at our location that are now in Colorado at the Olympic Training Center. And so, it was a good sell and everything like that. Not that my dream has ever been to work with figure skaters because I can barely fucking stand up on the ice. But I think that helps kind of bring back the thoughts I've had over the previous several months, which kind of have a bit of almost wishing that this thing fell apart on its own and that I didn't have to end it. They're just we got too much going on. We can't hire you, or you're asking too much now, so we can't go on. And I think that probably gives me my answer right there, especially – we had our finance guy break down the numbers for us, and I thought I would have been making more per hour with what we were doing there. And when he broke down how much we're actually taking home, it's actually a lot less per hour than just what our semi-private, an hour of semi-private runs here. And I think that combined with that context helps kind of frame that a little bit for me. Because that's not what I want. I'd rather have the vision I've always had, right, is one great facility. I think a lot of people in strength fashion are kind of that kind of feel that you want to have one great facility that you build. And when I had my vision, right, it wasn't a franchise of 20 different locations. It's funny, there's a building in town that I never would have been able to afford, but it was always the dream location, and it was just a bigger space. And when I saw Luca Hocevar's new gym, holy shit. I mean, that's not now I saw it and, oh, that's what I want my gym to be. It was what I already had in my head. Wow, that's pretty close to what I had in my head for the build. And I think, we intentionally, I didn't put my name on the gym, RC Training and Fitness, so that it doesn't attach to me. But still, I know I'm a part of this. I know that my identity and my personality and interaction with people are a big part of the sell to why they come here. And I love coaching, and I don't ever want to get to where I'm not coaching at all and just managing a bunch of locations. So I I think that helps frame it. And I think this is just like the really nice girlfriend you have that you have to break up with, but you just keep putting it off because
but you got to figure
they're
out
not going to do it.
you got to figure out for yourself, right? Like there's and to stay with the girlfriend analogy, you know, when you were single, maybe you were hanging out with one or two girls at the same time because you enjoyed having fun with them and there were benefits to both of them. It's the same thing here. The biggest thing is what's the benefit that you're going to try to draw from working with the team? Like, you know how people talk about like a loss leader? Like you're willing to lose a little bit of money on the front end to make up more money on the back end, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking at the team as you were hoping to make a profit off of the team, right? Maybe that was the wrong way of looking at it. And if you can start to create a game plan where you're converting those people into your semi-private model, if you end up saying every time I do a team or an organization, I'm going to break even. My goal on a team training for me personally, was always break even. If I could break even on what I'm doing from that, and then I can capture the 10 to 20% of that team into a semi-private model for if and I don't know what you charge, but if it's $300 a month for a semi-private charge, you're now into a situation where if that person stays with you for 6 months as an athlete, you've made yourself that $1,800 in money, and that's much higher towards your profitability margins and everything else that you're looking for.
Totally.
So if this organization's breaking ground in how long till they break ground?
They'll break ground in the spring. It'll take at least a year so spring of 2019 would be the earliest that facility opens.
You've got 2 years to work this organization, find something where you can start to convert those people into actual athletes in your gym. And I would say go in with a plan of, hey, 18 months from now, what would I have to do in order for me to have a satellite facility that made sense, right? If their facility where they're at, if you start training half of your people are figure skaters, I would say it might make sense for you to have your primary location be there. You know, maybe you are the figure skating guy. Maybe you're the like you laugh, but you know.
I know.
Eric Cressy's the famous person on the side of I've never really played baseball. I think Eric used to say he was a tennis player.
Yeah.
He now coaches baseball players, right? Like if you're being chosen and you're being selected to work with a group and you're doing a fantastic job, and is there anybody in the country who's known as the figure skating person? Like,
not that I'm aware of.
But how much money do those women and those parents spend on their kids to do figure?
Right.
Like, absolutely, that market is willing to pay for the excellence of it. You know, so Blades of Glory. Ray.
There's definitely that resistance of like, you know, right, growing up like hunting and wrestling and then being like, am I going to be the fucking figure skating guy? But
yeah, if you live the life you always wanted to live, why do you fucking care?
Right. No, 100%.
Ross,
like, I don't have to be good at it.
Face every day just so he doesn't feel like this figure.
Like, yeah, man. Like,
it's a big market and there's a lot of money, and this is Chicagoland, Wisconsin, Midwest. Like, there's a lot of ice athletes, and I think it's close enough to another market that spends a lot of money is hockey, and we have a handful of hockey kids that are really good that have played with us too, and I think there's that not imposter syndrome, but almost like, do I go for this as a guy who can like barely fucking stand on skates? But like, that's not my job. My job is not to teach them how to skate. And part of the reason that I do feel like I have a high value here is on the other side of the coin, right? It's a lot of, not in hockey, I wouldn't say, but definitely in figure skating, a lot of people who do strength training are just former figure skaters. So they have no formal education in strength and conditioning, and a lot of times they're coming at it from the wrong angle and they're just making people stretch, and it's like, just make them stronger and better athletes, which is almost always the answer.
You just found your local expert marketing idea though.
Yeah.
How can you talk about the benefits of cardiac output and aerobic capacity for a figure skater so that they can maintain their ability when they're under high amounts of stress, right? If you're about to go out on the ice and skate for a championship, and to get a high score and win, right? You probably are gassed before you stepped out there because of stress and the competitive and the anxiety of performance, right? Well, if you can talk about, hey, this is why we do a cardiac output session. This is the benefits. These are the things. How do you improve your performance before you even step on the ice, right? How do you handle the pre-competition jitters? If you just start talking about the things that you can do from an exercise science high performance aspect and you talk locally to that market, nobody's ever spoken to them like that. Nobody's been the doctor, like the expert in that for them, because it's all former figure skaters who are expert at the skill, but nobody's the expert at the performance of the physical things that are necessary.
Totally.
And if you start speaking to that locally, I mean, forget nationally, you don't have to be the national guy yet.
Yeah.
But if you locally can be that, I mean, again, if you have 20 figure skaters who you work with who pay $300 a month, you make 6 G's off figure skaters, right?
Yeah.
Are you mad?
No, I'll get over it, right? I'll get over being the figure skating guy.
Facts.
I'm gonna put the word out now. Ross is the figure skater guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna get him a skirt.
Yeah. Send him a pair of pink skates. We got
Yeah.
Sequin outfit.
Sorry, what's up, Coop?
You need a sequin outfit to go with it.
Yeah, they have a group who like comes in on certain days when I'm there, and they're all trying them on. So I'll just ask if they have any for those kids size like quadruple XL, but see if I can fit in. But this is good. I mean, this opens up my mind, and just to kind of throw out where I'm thinking, if it helps the group at all, like what this has given me is some context to rethinking like where the value is in this for me, right? Because like going in here, one of the first things I was saying is like, well, the reason I've stuck with this relationship and where the value I've seen with it is, right, they're paying me just enough to make it worth my time. And then on top of that, I could have like, not even do I want a second satellite facility, but just, I could have one essentially paid for on someone else's bill. And that sounds nice. And that was kind of as far as I thought about it. But this has helped me kind of look at it through a different angle. It's an opportunity to get my reps in working with this population, build a reputation with it, with different people's success, right? We've got the couple high level girls that are doing their thing, and we can of course have those as our marquee people. And one of them was really great and strongly encouraged us. She's like, use my image as much as possible. She's like, I'll send you posters and whatever. Like, she's like, use me and market me to help build your brand. So having those marquee, and then this next level of high school and junior high kids and their future. And like, okay, I've got an opportunity to work with a specific group that doesn't have a marquee person. And how can I leverage that into not adding value to what I have, but adding value to how I present as a trainer and a coach. And I like that idea. And I think it comes down to pulling the trigger, because I love public speaking. I love getting up in front of a group. But the introvert in me comes out when it's the one-on-one of asking whoever's in charge, hey, could I speak to that group? And I think that's just a matter of fucking getting over it and, asking that person. Because once I'm in front of the group, I'm on fire. It's just getting the opportunity to get in front of that group that I think I need to step up more with.
And the organization as a whole has already said that they trust you.
Yeah.
They're putting you in front of their athletes. They're putting you in front of the stuff. You have already gotten the social proof from their coaches and from the organization that they work with. Just say, hey, I want to give a talk to everybody about, hey, why we're doing some of the things that we're doing. And then go in and display your expertise. Like, we would always do open houses. Even though we're already coming in, even when we're already doing stuff, we can have an open house so that we can show them why we're doing what we're doing. So if they see their kid playing, red light, green light, like we play red light, green light with kids who are 8 to 10 years old. And parents are like, well, I'm paying for my kid to go to speed class. But I tell the parent, I go, it teaches acceleration, deceleration, body control, right? And awareness to both an auditory and a visual stimulus. So now I'm giving them reaction ability that they're going to need when they're playing their sports, right? If they're a cornerback, they have to react to when they see the wide receiver move. Same thing, right? If they're a wide receiver, you can't jump off sides. If you hear something, you have to wait till you see something, right? So like, everything starts to add in, and then we just speak coach to the parent. But now they see why we're doing what they're doing. And they go, oh, wow, this person's really thought deeply about why they're helping my athlete, And then you start to, drop in there those hints of, when we do our full evaluation, and we can break down exactly the things that are holding back performance, that's when we can really take this thing to another level, right? While we're doing this group here, we also can do these things in a solo situation or in a semi-private situation. And now you're not telling anybody to come and sign up with you, but you're now putting in their head the idea that, hey, I could get even better results.
There's a next level to this.
Other level. Then they'll come up to you and they'll ask, but it's because you already had the ability to showcase the expertise. You had a game plan. You went in, you talked about what you could do otherwise. And then you just keep being that person who's always putting out that information to that group. And then people just show up.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, man. I got a full sheet of fucking ideas.
That's fire.
Speaking of satellite facilities, I'm kind of at ours. So.
Ooh. About to do some tactical shit?
Here, listen. I'll give it 10 seconds. That's far away. Now that I say it, you won't hear it. As soon as I roll the window up, it will.
I'm riveted.
Is parking next to the range?
There's there's a lot of clues as to where I am. It's just that, of course, whenever I say that, all of a sudden it stops. No, yeah, we did. I got to go here in a second, but we did a lot of that to get here. There you go. Of course, now it stops. We did a lot of that to get here. We started off with a seminar where we said, I'll do this, but only if we get to do a seminar and say, there you go, why we do what we do. And that helped immensely because then the guys were like, oh, okay, this all makes sense. And what's cool is that actually right now, a handful of the guys decided that they almost want to assist me in spreading the message. And so and they paid for me to do it too. They wanted to do the Exos performance specialist, whatever certification or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a handful of my guys that are doing it, and they were like, do you have it? I was like, no, but I'm really familiar with their stuff. And they're like, oh, we'll pay for you to do it. I'm like, okay.
Sure.
So yeah, but that helped immensely. The seminars and explaining why we do what we do. Anytime someone starts in our program, they have to go through a seminar with us that way. So, and I actually just took the new commander here through it, which was super nerve-wracking, but went really, really well. And now he'll be he's becoming a huge proponent of our program. Actually, I'm going in to meet him now and go through day 3 of his program. So
nice.
But you guys can stay on as long as you want. I love these freaking talks. This is awesome. I wish I could stay. But I got to roll. Any questions for me before I go?
Next time we need to go over how you got in with them initially, Chris.
In a way that could never be in a way that could never be reproduced, but I'm sure I'll give the story. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So, all right, guys, I'm gonna hit stop recording. Stay on as long as you want, and yes, I